This is Austin Real Estate Investing. Austin Real Estate Investing. We'll be discussing real estate investing in Austin, Texas, and bringing you experts from all different sectors of the real estate game. Your host, Jordan Moorhead, is a real estate agent and investor in Austin and is here to help you get started or to build your portfolio and explore new strategies.
Hi, this is Jordan Moorhead with the Moorhead team. This is the Austin Real Estate Investing Podcast. And today we have Arian Cabrera, a real estate investor in Austin. He's going to tell us all about his story of how he's gotten started real estate investing in Austin and where he's going next. Hey, Arian, how are you?
Hi, good, Jordan. Thanks for having me here. It's an honor.
Thank you so much for coming on. I know we know each other. You've worked with us in the past. I've seen some of the stuff you guys have done, and you're really doing awesome. And I wanted to be able to share that with other people who are getting started in real estate investing here in Austin.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad to share what I'm doing. Mostly because I'm a newbie on the topic, and I really would love to help somebody on their journey, or at least the ones that are starting into it.
Yeah. And, we talked about this a little bit before. I wouldn't consider you a newbie. You've done it twice now. You've done some big rehabs. But real quick, who are you and how are you involved with real estate investing in Austin?
Well, I need to get the audience on on topic. First thing I need to say, I'm a Cuban immigrant, so I came from Cuba like 7 years ago. So I've been working I came directly to Austin, so I guess I was lucky that I found real estate in Austin, Texas. So it was an amazing lucky shot, I guess. And starting from that, I work on IT. I'm an operation analyst. And since we established our life in Austin, Texas, we decided to put our money to work because we always had the idea to get ourselves out of the rat race, a way of saying. And we were always frugal, saving our money, try to start a business, checking something. And that's how I found real estate. So we say, where do we put our money? And real estate pops up and we love it. I was talking to you at one point that my grandpa was always a flipper back in Cuba, and that runs in my family. So as soon as we found real estate, we fall in love for it, and I was like, yeah, we need to go for it.
Awesome. So I want to talk a little bit about your story a little more. We're not going to go too in depth with it, but so what did you guys do in Cuba, and why did you come to the U.S.?
So in Cuba, we went to college, and so after we get out of college, we both did it's called here electronics or something similar to that, more similar to computer science, but more electronic basis on that. Mm-hmm. And after that, find a work on what we did for our careers was really difficult, and it was not worth it. And talking about Cuba being a dictatorship, so we trying to find a future for ourselves, and that's why we decided to come here to the United States.
Yeah, and I know a little bit about your story of your grandpa that was a flipper. I didn't know how he was a flipper, and it made more sense when you explained it to me more in depth. So explain to people, here in the U.S., you're a flipper. We hear these stories of people flipping hundreds of houses a year. Maybe they've got 5 flips going at a time. How did he do it there in Cuba?
So I was telling you that this in Cuba, the way the law is written, you cannot own more than one house at a time. So that means you can only own one house, or like you can probably try to get 3 different houses in different people's names, but that will raise flags everywhere, and that will get you in problems. So he was most doing living flips. Like we call living flips here in the U.S. It's like you buy a house, you move there, you fix it a little bit, raise the value, sell it, get some money out of there, and then move to the next one, and again and again and again. As much as if you have strength to do so, I'm patient to do so.
Yeah, so I thought that was really interesting. So again, guys, if you listen to that, Arian said that you can't own more than one house at a time in Cuba. So his grandpa's really smart. He said, hey, I'm going to figure out how to make this real estate investing flipping work in Cuba. I'm just going to buy a house. I'm going to do the live-in flip. Then I'm going to move on to the next one after I sell that one. So he's really smart. He's doing that. He's making it work in Cuba. But even what we're doing here in Austin, we're buying a house hack one year and we're moving out. We're buying another house hack the next year. You can't do that because you can only have one house at a time. So
That's exactly.
We forget how blessed we are, in this country with how real estate works and with just how everything works in this country. We say, real estate's so hard, I can't do it. But you can buy a house and then you can do another one next year if you're just buying it to live in. That's so easy. And we're allowed to do that where not everybody is. So I thought that was really cool, that he's figuring out a way to make it work. But it also makes you be grateful for how great we have it here. We've got it just amazing with the way our loans are set up and the way real estate ownership rights are set up in the US and just how the economy works here, especially here in Austin, how we've got things. We've got it so good, and it's easy to forget that.
It is, that is true. And I'll say there that when I first came here, I felt that it was difficult here because I didn't know how real estate works until I get into real estate. And I was like, oh my God, no, I think real estate is so difficult because I was thinking in my mind, I was still in Cuba, right? And I was like, oh man. And then when I realized, like, yeah, guys, like, I mean, it sounds hard. I mean, it's not as easy as it sounds because be real, there's work to do, but it's easier that you might think it is. And coming from Cuba, I just realized, yeah, why not? This is definitely a good place to be.
Yeah, the doors are wide open here in Austin, and especially here in the US. So that leads me to the next question. Why did you guys choose to come to Austin? So Austin's not I know what's Miami or Key West is 90 miles from Cuba. There's so many opportunities to move to Florida if you're from somewhere in the Caribbean. Why Austin?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Again, I'll say that I'd say it's a lucky shot, but hey, man, life puts you in places that you never know. My mom was living in New Jersey before I was on my way here to US, and like months before I came here, she moved to Austin. Actually, she moved to Georgetown, really close to Georgetown. And we came here because it's the only family we had here in Austin, even though we have a lot of friends in Miami. And they say, you should come here with us. We came to Austin and we saw Austin. We saw the house was growing and the tech, because we are the tech oriented careers. We say, oh no, we definitely stay in Austin so we come to Austin and stay here for the tech careers, and we just stay for the real estate.
Yeah. No, I think you guys made the right decision.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So obviously, you didn't have it in your mind that real estate investing was a great thing to do because where you grew up, people weren't investing in real estate other than your grandpa. So you had an example there. You had a house flipper in the family who'd been doing it for a while and was doing it successfully. But what attracted you to real estate?
So the thing that attracted me to real estate was first thing as one of the first things that attracted me personally was the edge against inflation. Mm-hmm. Inflation was a thing. I mean, I always kind of love finances, even though I don't have a financing career, but I like the idea of understanding how money works, and I understand how inflation works, and I thought inflation was really something that really impact our money, and when I saw real estate and how strong it is against inflation, I was like, that's a big reason to be there. The other reason was what I was talking about, that my grandpa, and I was like, I got a really good idea about how the house, how the things in the house, do a little bit of plumbing here and there. And the other important thing that I like it too, it's like, it's easier. It's easier to buy a house than build a business out of nothing. We're coming from a country, different language, different culture. It's really hard for me to, start making a business software. Maybe I could do that, but I still need to find the culture, find my clients who is going to buy my product. And it's really difficult, at least for me, for my mind, right? Think about those terms when I see, but it's just buying a house.
Mhm.
It's kind of easier on my mind that that's why that's what bring me to real estate.
Yeah, no, I love the first thing you brought up was a hedge against inflation. Inflation is a very real thing, and it's a huge issue that we're dealing with right now. Prices are going up like crazy, 5+% a quarter. And what that really means is your dollar is losing value every year, every quarter, every day when inflation's real high. But also when inflation's real high, real estate's holding value and increasing in value. So it's not, there's not a direct correlation that, hey, because if your dollar loses value and your real estate increases in value, there's a gap there that you probably made money on, but you didn't lose money. And I think that's one of the most important things you said. It's a hedge against inflation. So, hey, I can figure out how I can not lose money because my money's sitting in the bank right now. You're losing a significant amount of money for your money sitting in the bank. You can make money off real estate through cash flow. You can make money off real estate through appreciation. You get some tax benefits from owning real estate. And, like you said, you knew you had some plumbing skills, you had some fix up skills. You can increase the value of real estate. As if you actually recently found out, by fixing a place up, you increase the value tremendously. So
Tremendously, yes.
that's all the ways why, yeah, it's a hedge against inflation. And there's all this other stuff out there that real estate helps with. It's really cool.
Yep.
So, you've done a few deals in Austin. Can you tell us advice of how to avoid a bad deal here? Or just things you've seen that people have made mistakes with, and you'd say, hey, don't do this?
Have you wanted to be part of GoBundance, the tribe of millionaires, but just haven't hit that millionaire status yet? Well, now you can, not even being a millionaire, by joining our new program, GoBundance Emerge. My name's Jamie Gruber, creator of GoBundance Emerge and member of the GoBundance community. And now you can join. GoBundance.com/emerge. GoBundance.com/emerge. Use code Jordan for $100 off this 12-week goal-setting program and mastermind that'll propel you to being a whole life millionaire.
I think one of the important things that I realized, because we always make mistakes. Starting for our first house, when we were decided to buy the house, like we still didn't know about real estate, right? We just wanted to buy a house. We needed to put our money on a house, because instead of burning money on a rent place, I rather put it on a house. Mm-hmm. Though we didn't use the right approach to buy a house, we still were thinking about how we get a better deal. So my advice in these cases is just have a clear criteria of what you're looking for. It's really important. Though our criteria form during all our time looking for a house, we changed criteria because we were not really clear what we were looking for, and that's one of the important things that we need to get is a clear criteria what we're looking for. As long as you are able to find that, I'm pretty sure you're gonna focus more into the things that are important, and then from there you will see that deal when it pops up. You'll see it. You see that's the deal I'm looking for, and you'll go for it, and also you feel good, because I was talking to another person the other day. It's like sometimes you feel, I'm not sure if I'm doing a great deal on this. The number makes sense, but I kind of worry about this. If your criteria is clear, oh man, you're not gonna have any doubt over it. You're gonna jump on it. You're gonna say, I'm gonna buy this, even if it's only 100 cash flow. But I know this has something. This has also in it.
Mm-hmm. No, I love that, and I think I've actually heard that a few times in the last couple of days. Make sure you have a clear criteria, and then finding something is going to be a lot easier. And I know myself, when I don't have a clear criteria and I'm just out there and I say, I want to find a deal, I don't find anything. When I say, hey, I want to find a duplex in South Austin in one of these neighborhoods within X amount of time of downtown. I think if you get too narrow, you say, I want this exact house in this exact neighborhood. If they're not willing to sell it, then you might be in trouble. But if you say, hey, I want to buy a duplex, I want to buy it in this part of town, I can spend this much money, and this is my criteria for how it needs to perform, it can work a lot easier. But if you just say, hey, I want to buy a property, I don't care where it is, I don't care what it is, I don't care what kind of shape it's in, then you're probably not going to find anything. If you don't know what you're looking for, you can't find anything. So I really like that you said that.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And another part of advice that I wanted to bring is when finding a deal, even sometimes you should look out of the box, let's say that way, because you probably know, because you were helping me finding my duplex, is that we found it because we were looking on single family instead of looking on a duplex. But it was just out of some kind of coincidence. Someone, my wife was looking into this, like, this is a duplex. This is not a single family. And I was like, oh yeah, it is a duplex, and this is the one we want. So sometimes it helps. I mean, and that's exactly. I think sometimes when you are clear on what you want, the universe conspires to help you out.
Yeah, and do you want to talk about that real quick? Talk about the most recent purchase you had, where there's a little bit of a bigger rehab, and really what you've done there and what you went into it expecting and how it's turned out so far.
Sure. The first thing is I want to point out, we found it on an MLS, because even though we were like learning about all this real estate and how you can find something off market, it's really hard as you as a newbie to get a hard money lender to help you buy something off market. With mostly off market deals, you have to have a hard money lender or a private lender to fund it. So we didn't have that at the time, and so we were looking at the MLS, and we found it that way. My wife loved to search in the MLS, and she found it on a single family, and it was actually a duplex, and that, I guess that helped us. So as soon as we found it, we say this is the one we want, because we were living in the area before and we loved the area. After that, we went in and we say, hey, yeah, it needs rehabs. Yeah, it was the kind of thing that you were like, oh man, it's like, if you are not experienced enough, you probably back out of the deal. But if you have like a person like Jordan that will tell you, hey man, this is a great deal, or will kind of help you look things a different way, because you sometimes are, the way you look at things is not the same that someone else could look at it, and that person will give you a view that you didn't consider, and as long as you say, oh, that's right, and that help you a lot. So I think one of the advice that I'll keep too is to find someone that you know that has some experience that might help you, because at the end we're learning on all this process, and some people that have experience that you don't. And that's another thing. So we found it. We said, yeah, we need to do a rehab on it. We're trying to do a 2 or 3K FHA loan on this one that we can go over it later. And we couldn't. We went normally FHA. And after that, we have to deal with the rehab. We spent a little bit of money on rehab, more than we expected. So I always plan a little bit that you always gonna probably spend a little bit more than you expected. That happens, I guess. And the time sometimes it takes longer than you expected to, mostly with the crazy market you have right now. You have a lot of contractors are busy, like because contractors say, hey, I mean, I might help you, but I'm busy all this month, so I cannot help you until next month. I was like, what? It's really difficult. So time is it's really hard to measure at least at the time that we were doing this. I'm not sure about right now, but so that's one thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you want me to go deep on another point.
Oh, whatever you want to share. So, and I really like what you said though. Hey, it's probably going to cost more than you think, and it's probably going to take longer than you think. And I think when you set those expectations in your head that, hey, they said this would be done by the 10th, I don't think it's going to be done by the 10th. It's probably going to take a little bit longer. So when they get done by the 15th, you're not mad about it. Or if they say it's going to cost $1,000 and it costs $1,500, you're not mad about it. It makes your mental headspace a lot easier. But that's absolutely my experience with contractors. Is it costs more, it takes longer. Not all the time, but that can happen a lot for simple reasons that they could just find something they couldn't have known about that's going to take them longer to fix. It's going to cost more money to fix. You can only see what you can see until you start tearing into stuff. There might be other issues that there's no way they could have known about it. And stuff just happens. Like right now, we're having huge supply chain issues after COVID. maybe you can't get to the materials you need to do the rehab, and that slows you up. So
Yeah.
I love your advice there. If it's going to take longer than you think, it's probably going to cost more than you think.
Yeah, and regarding that specific point, our windows took like 2 months to get our windows, and what else I was gonna say about that is that if you're new and you decide to do stuff yourself, even if you feel that you're handy doing stuff, you should add a little bit more time, because sometimes, like, I know I did a bunch of stuff on our rehab, and that caused delays too, because it's just myself doing stuff, so I didn't count how much I'll take for me to do so.
Yeah,
so that's another experience.
Yeah, it's just you, and you're only one person. You have a life, and you have a job, and stuff happens. It can't get done no matter what, no matter who's doing it. It's probably going to take a little longer than you expect it to, and there's going to be unforeseen stuff that comes up. So that's great advice when you're talking about getting into a rehab. You can buy something turnkey, but you can't add value to turnkey properties easily. You're just hoping the market's going to go up. Maybe you're buying something strategically that you think, oh, this is in a neighborhood that's going to appreciate rapidly, or I'm putting a bid down on a new construction that's 2 years out. And by the time it's done, I think it's going to be worth a lot more. But the tried and true way to make money in real estate is improve the value of an asset. And that's difficult, which is why most people don't do it. They just want to buy a turnkey.
Yeah.
What's one thing you tell people that are getting into real estate investing? So one thing you tell a newer investor, you guys have done a couple, you've got some experience. If somebody came to you today and said, Arian, I'm looking to get into real estate investing, what would you tell them?
Hey guys, this is Jordan Moorhead here, and I wanted to ask if you could do a huge favor for me. If you could go leave a review for this podcast wherever you're listening to it, that would really help me get this into the hands of other people that are interested in information about Austin real estate investing, and I'd be able to help more people. Thanks, guys.
The first thing I'll tell them is do it. Get into real estate investing. And I will advise them to go house hacking. As a newbie, it's less risky to go start flipping. I personally, I have no experience with flipping, so that's why I don't advise anyone to go there and start by flipping. But if they feel like flipping is something that they love and do it, okay, do it. But I would say do it, man. Do it. Get into real estate investment. You won't regret it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome advice. That's all you need to hear. You'll figure out the rest. Get into it, jump into it, start learning about it, and it's so much fun. You're going to figure out everything. I like what you said too about, maybe you get into something that's quick and simple and easy, like house hacking. Even house hacking with a rehab project, there's not those tight timelines as flipping. With flipping, you might need to be out of it in 3 or 4 months, and your hard money costs are really high, or you've got holding costs on the project and you have to make a certain amount of money. If you buy a house hack, even a rehab house hack like you guys bought, your time is your friend. It's not your enemy. So you can take your time getting it done, and maybe it's a little slower than you thought and more expensive, and that's annoying, but it's not going to hurt you in the long run. But with flipping, if you're a contractor, maybe that's something you get into. But if you're just getting started, I think house hacking is definitely the best way to start.
Yes.
So, Arian, you guys have done a few here in Austin. Obviously, you came from a country where you can't do any of that stuff. You guys are just crushing it. What's next for you? What are your long-term goals, and what's your vision for real estate investing?
So, since you mentioned that we came from another country, I would love to say, guys, if we could do it, you guys can do it too. And our goals, we were discussing our goals last week, and we will want to keep on house hacking. Probably, like, we are actually looking forward for our next house hack. Can't wait to do it. After that, we are planning to start building a property management company we are really looking into this. We're trying to put as much as hurt as we can into our projects in that specific case. But again, we try to keep doing our house hacking strategy, but at the same time, buy and hold strategy, because we planning to keep buying and keeping it, and at least on the next 3 years.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I think you can house hack over and over. I've done that. I just bought my fourth. That's been very good to me. So I can't recommend that enough. But just doing the simple get rich slow scheme, buy and hold real estate, buy real estate, keep buying it. It's very predictable. You know it works. Everybody knows it works. It's not exciting. It's not crypto. It's not options trading. It's nothing crazy with these huge risks and these huge swings up and down. But you buy a house every year and you're way ahead of all your peers. That's all you do. And it's easy to forget that when you hear about all these people syndicating apartments or doing all this crazy stuff. All you have to do is buy a house every year and you're set by the time you're 45 or 50 and you're a millionaire and you're crushing it.
Yeah. And touching that point right away, it's like really quick, is that you probably too busy working into this when you suddenly you say your cash or your bank account is close to zero, and you go to and check your net worth, is like huge. I was like, I never, like, coming from Cuba, I never seen so much money on my hands, and it's comforting knowing that somehow it's slow, it's not exciting as you say it, but it's there, and you can see it that somehow it's growing, and you can see the result of your hard work.
Yeah, and like you said, it might not all be in your bank account right now. It's a lot of it's in the properties, but if you absolutely have to have that money, if somebody in your family gets hurt or you're in an emergency, you can access that stuff through either selling the property or refinancing or getting lines of credit. Having those assets is extremely powerful for unlocking money for you to use right now if you need it. Obviously, you don't always want to do that unless you can make money with that equity. But if you need that equity and you have an emergency, it's there for you to help you. And that's another great thing about real estate, is you've always got something there to protect you if anything bad happens. Arian, do you have a favorite business or mindset book that you like to recommend to people?
Oh yes, I do. I have a couple, but I started on real estate. I will say I'm not gonna go to the biggest one, but the ones that really touched me deep, and one of them was the Richest Man in Babylon.
Yeah.
Ah man, that book's really touched you. It's like The Alchemist, but it's more business related than The Alchemist. Is more spirit wise. And The Richest Man in Babylon was the one that I really love. Of course, I love Rich Dad Poor Dad. That book was amazing. But I don't know, somehow The Richest Man in Babylon touched me deeper on my thinking, on my way to see life, and at least business, the way to see business and money.
Yeah, that's a great book, Richest Man in Babylon. And guys, we'll have all this in the show notes too, so you'll be able to pick up these books. Rich Dad Poor Dad, one a lot of people mention, and The Richest Man in Babylon, which had not mentioned that much, but it's an amazing book. I really like the stories, stories like that. The Richest Man in Babylon is a personal finance book, but it's also kind of a story, and it's fun to read.
It is fun to read. It's really good.
Yeah.
And that's what I mentioned, The Alchemist, because The Alchemist is really is kind of the Richest Man in Babylon, but more spiritual. For the person, for that road that you decide to take, and how the universe conspired to help you, either way, spiritually or wealth, or it's really amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, so definitely check out those two books. Arian, how can people follow you or get a hold of you? Is there a preferred platform of choice you have, or is there some way people can reach out to you?
Yes, I mean, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I have my, Arian Cabrera Alvarez on LinkedIn. My preferred platform is Facebook. You can reach me on Facebook, probably faster than any other platform. And I do have an Instagram, and my wife and I, we have share account on Instagram. It's called With Cuban Flavor. And we also have a website as www.withcubanflavor.com. And you can reach out either way. And I advise you guys to go there because it's not real estate projected, and they have a lot of Cuban recipes and very healthy for everyone to try.
Awesome. Yeah. So check out withcubanflavor.com and on Instagram with Cuban Flavor. Lots of awesome recipes on there. So speaking of recipes, Arian, what's your favorite restaurant in Austin?
Oh, it's really hard to say that it's not Cuban because I haven't found a really good Cuban restaurant in Austin that I really enjoy. But the Lupe tortilla, oh my God, I love the Lupe stick. It's one of my favorites there. And the fajitas there are amazing. Lupe tortilla.
Lupe tortilla. Where is that located? I don't think I'm familiar. I probably am, but can't remember.
They have a few ones. They have one close to the domain on the other side of the domain where there's a Home Depot right there. There's one there. There's another one in Cedar Park, and there's another one on Premium Outlets on Rumbrook. There's one close to there.
Awesome. So all up north, Lupe Tortilla, great restaurant. Thank you so much for coming on here, Arian. Again, if anybody needs to reach out to Arian, go to www.withcubanflavor.com or on Instagram @withcubanflavor. Thank you so much. We will talk to you here soon.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank you for inviting me here.